And we're live. We're here. We're going. We are
Yes.
excited. It is that time of the week and the day, and we are excited. Friday Live. Renee, how's it going?
Man, I am so excited for Friday. It's been one of those weeks. But hey, all is good. This weekend we're gonna have a blast. We're gonna meet Jeff in Tampa and
Going up to
Dustin.
Tampa.
Yes, looking forward to it. Hey, matter of fact, there's Gasparilla this weekend.
Gasparilla, I think, or Illa.
Yeah.
I would assume it's. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Gasparilla. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But it should be fun. Like whole pirate festival, and they got a big pirate boat. They're going to be moving around and drinks and food, and I don't know. It sounds like it goes on for multiple weekends too. So I think this is the grand finale. So, anyways, it should be fun. We're gonna have a good time. So look forward to hanging out with Jeff O'Neill, planning some stuff, talking about some stuff. I know he's helped a ton of agents in the group. If you've never connected with him, make sure you connect with him. So do a little bit of housekeeping before we announce what we're talking about today and our guest and all that. And it's going to be awesome. He's been on with us many times before, and he's amazing. You guys have seen him in the group. And if you're an agent, even especially if you're a P&C agent, you definitely need to connect with him for sure. So a little bit of housekeeping as we get going and as people are hopping on. We are live, and we do lives on Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And now we also have Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So people can join us then as well. So definitely keep that on your calendars. In fact, there's a link that will be posted in a bit, and you can click that to get a reminder when we go live. Also, big announcement. We got a new YouTube channel. We're dropping videos on there. All these videos like this and all these past ones, 100 plus or whatever that we have, are going to be dropped on there periodically and stuff as well. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to that. In fact, we got a contest running right now, a King Sumo contest. Which you guys can do similar type of contests for yourself, for your email list and different stuff using King Sumo. Super cool. But yeah, if you go grab that, it literally is free, quick, easy, and you get entries, and you can get more by subscribing to our channel and just a few simple things or whatever. And we got a huge giveaway that we're doing for that. So you can win a whole bunch of stuff for the winner of that contest. So make sure you go do that. You can share it, get additional entries, all that sort of stuff. So and speaking of sharing, I'm going to wait for a few more people to hop on, but this is public live, so you can actually share this to your personal profile. So if you're watching this, if you could just do a quick click share to your personal profile, it would be awesome, and we get even more people seeing in the reach. So that would be pretty exciting. So a bunch of cool stuff going on in the group. Shot past 11,000. We're on our way to 12. Looking for 40 this year. Shooting up in subscribers on the YouTube channel. Please go join us there. We're going to have a lot of video content. It's going to be a lot easier to find and watch the video content there than in the group. So make sure you guys go do that. Got a blog content that we're adding as well. Really cool stuff. And our guest today has actually got some pretty good blog posts that he's been writing up recently and dropping in the group. So if you haven't checked those out, I'll make sure to mention that when we bring him on as well. And yeah, so I mean, we got a lot of really cool stuff going on. We got some lives next Tuesday and Friday, and really great stuff. So it's Friday. It's time. Let's get to the focus of this thing. And the title of this live is Crushing P&C Objections Permanently. So we know that you guys, sales guys, and you guys get all different types of objections, and you know, really, how do you go about, you know, preventing them in the first place and overcoming them when they do pop up, and all this type of stuff with your sales stuff. And we're going to bring on a special guest that has, you know, mastered this, that has an incredible course he's put together for this. But we're going to talk about that. We're talking about sales, talk about P&C, lots and lots of good stuff. So if you can see us and hear us, let us know in the comments. Let us know that you're joining us. Let us know what lines you specialize in, where you're joining from. If you had a win this week, just let us know in the comments. We'd be glad to have you guys here and hear from you guys. So without further ado, our super special, amazing guest, we got Tyler Raymer hopping on with us. Tyler, how's it going?
It's going. How are you guys?
Good. So we are happy to have you join us. Tyler, can you tell us a little bit, for those that may not be familiar, a bit about you, your background, P&C Revolution, and everything? That would be awesome.
Absolutely. So as they probably told you, I'm Tyler Raymer, one of very few on the planet, but there's only one of me. I'm an independent insurance agency owner here in Roseburg, Oregon. I've been in the business for several years now. Alex says happy Friday, or he says Friday, baby. Yes, it is Friday. My kids don't even have school today. I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm done with this video. I got to keep them entertained. But been in the industry for several years now. I own an independent agency. and almost all of my business is inbound, as in people are already familiar with me and they come find me. And I have an extremely loyal book of business. And over the past several years, agents would come to me asking me for help with marketing and sales and stuff like that. So eventually, after helping a few people one-on-one, then starting to charge people for it, I created P&C Revolution, which is focused on revolutionizing how agents, both captive and independent, market and sell P&C insurance. I help people generate their own leads so they don't have to be as dependent on lead vendors. If you guys are going to use a lead vendor, I recommend Jeff O'Neill. He's a rock solid guy, and he's straightforward and honest about how things work. But if you want to be a little bit less dependent on lead vendors overall, because it can get spendy, that's one of the things that I help with. And I also help people fine tune their sales processes so they don't have to worry about selling state minimums anymore. They don't have to worry about those common objections, the stall objections, like I need to shop around a little more, or I need to talk to my wife, or I want to wait till my renewal. I don't get paid till this date. I don't want to go through the hassle. You're not saving me enough money, all that kind of stuff. I don't need that extra coverage. So that's what
agent, are those common objections you guys hear? Have you guys ever heard that before? Has anybody ever been like, I need to talk to my wife or my husband before I make this decision? I'm pretty sure you have, but let us know. And if you got other common objections that you guys hear on the day-to-day or things that you kind of struggle with, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear kind of what objections you hit all the time. But yeah, Tyler, I know you know these objections real well.
Yeah. My big focus is prevention, though. Like it's good to be good at overcoming them, but prevention is the best. Like, why would you want to put out a fire if you don't have to have it spark up in the first place?
That's right.
So that's kind of what I focus on. But how I set my sales process up is that if they do come up, you've already planted seeds in order to be able to handle them. And even if they're a really unexpected one, there's an overall process that I follow that helps me deal with that stuff. If somebody says, I need to think about it, which I almost never hear that anymore because of my process. But if for some ungodly reason somebody says, I need to think about it first, I have a way of drilling down and figuring out the real problem, because throughout my process, I planted seeds and got them to commit. And if I'm asking for the money, that means that I've met what they wanted and they should be committing. So I deal with that all the time. And I think today I might actually be giving away some copies of one of my objection handling sheets for some of the most common ones as well.
Nice.
Some of the ones that I deal with, they require you to have used this process in the first place, but some of them you can just use no matter what your process is. If somebody says, I need to talk to my wife, I've got a process for that. Even if they have to hang up, I've got an appointment setting process, and I'll give that away. So hopefully I can help you guys overcome some of that stuff as well.
Hey, Tyler, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah, you go ahead, Renee, and then I'll pull up one from.
So when it comes to, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So my question is, when you first started, you said, I just want to clarify, you don't buy leads anymore. Your leads actually come to you based on your process.
On my marketing, and then I use my sales process to close them down. Yeah, I don't buy leads anymore. I have coordinated with Jeff O'Neill a few times, and that sends over good data. Like, I've never met a more honest lead vendor, but I tend to just not do it so much anymore. Through my marketing, through my referral relationships that I have set up and things like that, all my business comes to me. And then I have a specialized sales process for closing those down that increases loyalty, closing ratios, bundling numbers, average premium, retention, things like that.
Awesome.
Although I know that's not your typical process now, but I still got to show you the insurance lead machine at some point. I think as much as you want.
I know you mentioned it. I do want to see the other side of that.
Because I was just talking to we were just talking about a P&C agent that is just running through not even good data, like crappy data, putting it through, and pulled out like 15,000 AP for P&C.
Wow.
And that crappy data. And so anyways, so awesome stuff. But yes, please, guys, Tyler, you guys have had him come on multiple times. He's talked about a whole bunch of different topics with you guys: sales, P&C, objections, social media. He's social media king. If you guys haven't seen this guy, he's really should have the crown for being the king of memes. Insurance memes. This guy kills it. If you guys aren't following him and his content, you should, because it's both funny and it's something that you can definitely learn from. Speaking of, a lot, I think probably 100 plus, 150 plus agents have probably been through your organic social media course. And it's been a lot of agents. And so we've had a whole bunch of agents in this group go both through the live one and now the digital one that we have available on the site. And raving reviews, people love this. People love that they can implement this and get leads and referrals without, having to do ads. But actually, Tyler, I'll let you tell them about that. You know the course better than me. So tell them a little bit about organic social media before we hop into what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So the organic social media course is one of my most popular ones because whether you're a good salesperson or a bad one, we all need leads. And if you've been in this business more than a few months, you've either been burned or seen somebody get burned by a bad lead vendor like Quote Wizard, right? So organic social media, what that does is that allows you as an individual, whether you're an agency owner or a producer or whatever, to generate your own warm exclusive leads for free on Facebook without spending money on ads, without having to use your business page. So you don't have, if you're captive, you don't have to worry about violating hearsay social and stuff like that. And just for the record, I started out captive. So I lived in that world. I understand the restrictions. I've been there and I was able to get around them. And as a result, became one of the top salespeople for several months in a row in the Northwest by generating my own leads. I think for 4 months in a row, I was in the top 3. Twice I hit number 1, but I couldn't hold it till the last day of the month. But it was because almost all my business is self-generated. Anyway, I show you how to use your personal profile in order to leverage the Facebook algorithm. I teach you the 3 core components, how it works, what it wants from you, and how to manipulate it in order to get maximum exposure, and how to do so without burning out your audience. So if you have been in the sales world long enough, you've probably got a couple friends that are into MLMs. Which if you're in MLM, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that their marketing methods are usually terrible. It involves more emojis than words, and it's almost always based on recruiting and stuff. But they post about it. Excuse me. They post about it constantly, and it's annoying. And that's all they talk about is their business. And eventually, they get unfollowed because their friends are tired of hearing about it. I can show you how to promote yourself on Facebook without annoying your friends and getting unfollowed, by entertaining them, making them look forward to your content, whether it's business related or not. And if you ever take a hit from Facebook because you did something wrong, not against their rules, but if you got punished by the algorithm for not getting enough engagement, which does happen, I can show you how to fix that. So on top of that, I'll show you how I set up my own landing pages and redirects in order to collect information. So if a random stranger comes to my profile, which happens a lot, and they happen to click on my link, they go to my landing page, and then they end up filling out a complete quote form 95% of the time, so that I can have a complete quote for them, including consumer reports consent, so that it's like accurate before I even call them. So all of that is done in this 3-ish hour course, and I'm adding a little bit more to it. And it's only $97 one time for lifetime access. That price is going up, but not yet, almost.
So speaking of real quick, there's actually a special OSM deal going on right now that if people grab OSM, they'll get OSM, they'll get access to Tyler's private Q&A event that he's going to be holding for all the people that have gone through OSM, and talking with them, giving them special stuff there, and a lot of really great stuff in this private event. And I think he's doing that in the next week or 2. So definitely grab that. And then I believe you also get a discount off of the new chain course or ever as well. So, and in fact, I think you may even get a landing page too. I forget what else is the bonus, but definitely check out.
There's a bunch of stuff you were throwing at him.
There's a bunch of bonuses for that, and you definitely want to be a part of Tyler's private event. So everybody's gone through it before, which is a ton of you guys. You'd all get an invite from Tyler for that, and it is a killer course, and people absolutely love that, especially because it's organic and they can do it without ad spend and really generate stuff off social, and it works for all lines as well. And we have a special guest actually that hopped on as well that we'll bring on as well to hear about a little bit from him about his experience with that, as well as this chain course with Tyler as well. So let's go ahead without further ado and get Mr. Brad hopping on here.
So we had a gentleman in the comments that said, if you bring value, then you won't have rejections in the first place. And that's absolutely the point of the new course, is so that you don't have to deal with those objections. You can prevent them, because a lot of agents struggle with that. And so he's got a very good point there, and that's exactly.
Absolutely. That was Bert Lawson. So good question, Bert. Appreciate that. If you have any more questions, definitely let us know. And we got Brad here. So Brad's on with us. How's it going, Brad?
It's going good, guys. How about you?
Good. It's going great. So Brad, you're captive P&C agent, correct?
Yep, sure am.
And so you've been through a lot of stuff with Tyler. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with these courses, the kind of impact it's had on you and your business?
Well, I mean, right now, I use the OSM course on a day-to-day basis. I haven't been on it as much, but heck, there was 1 month that just following the simple processes in that course, I was getting an additional $30,000 in premium just off of Facebook. So it was freaking awesome that I was one of those captive agents. I was good if I got $20,000 in premium a month. You guys hear me?
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice and clear.
Hello?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
You're nice and clear. I hear you just fine.
Can you hear us?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you can hear us.
We having a technological difficulties.
He'll hop off and hop back. So yeah. So
we can hear him. I think that he thought because we couldn't hear him
that he needed to hop off and back, which is fine.
Yeah, he probably thought we couldn't hear it.
So we'll see when he hops back on. We'll get some more feedback from him. But yeah, so Tyler, can you tell us a little bit about Chain? What kind of inspired you to create it? Kind of your own experiences with that, and then kind of what Chain is.
Absolutely. So Chain is an acronym. The very basic beginnings of it is based off of a process I learned from another amazing mentor of mine. Well, he's not a direct mentor. It's somebody that I bought a lot of stuff from and learned a lot from. But I created this process from the beginnings of that for P&C agents that struggle, because the thing you guys need to remember about me is I do own an agency and I do everything that I teach. And so nothing that I do is theory. This is all stuff that I do daily, and I refine it whenever I need to if I'm finding that something's not working. Anyway, I noticed that when I was early in the business, I struggled with people that would tell me that, I'm good with the state minimums. I just want the minimums. And I didn't know how to overcome it. Some agents do, some don't. If you do, you're awesome. If you don't, this will probably be for you. Or I'd struggle with things like, well, the coverage sounds great, but you're not saving me enough money, so I'd rather just go with this guy down the road because he's saving me more. And more often than not, that agent was cutting coverages, which was really frustrating and annoying. I would deal with stall objections like, well, I just paid my insurance, let's wait till next month. And then they would hardly ever pick up the phone because I didn't have a process for setting appointments. And then I would struggle with things like, well, let me talk to the wife, which sometimes is a legitimate objection. Sometimes it's not. Anybody who tells you that it's 100% legitimate or 100% not legitimate is wrong. It's case by case. I know, because I'm married. I've been with my wife for about 14 years. So, and things like that, all those common things. People are telling you, no, I don't really want renter's insurance. All the little things that, especially if you're not an agency owner, if you're pushed to do that you struggle with, they're like, we need to increase our bundling numbers. We need more people above the state minimums. And you're struggling with those things. That's what this fixes. I don't sell state minimum policies anymore. Right now, I have 2 state minimum customers that I can think of. One is because he is a non-owner SR22, and the carrier that he's with doesn't do more than the state minimums for that. Nothing I can do about that. The other one is because their credit was not very good, and so the difference between the minimum and 5,100 was $100 a month, and they literally couldn't afford it because they don't have a high-paying job. So it was either that or not have insurance. But other than those, I don't sell state minimums anymore. And in fact, I've gotten to the point where I will turn some people away if their mentality isn't right. See, the process, the whole point of it is to stop trying to sell your customers more insurance and to start getting them to come to their own conclusions based on intelligent information. And you're giving it to them in a non-salesy, non-pushy way that's relatable to them, that they actually care about. And when somebody closes themselves rather than you convincing them, there's a whole different social dynamic there. Because when somebody closes themselves and they feel smart because they made a smart decision, they feel good about themselves. That's a good thing, because now they feel good about themselves because of something that you did, and they're going to subconsciously associate those positive emotions with their connection to you. And the best sales are made on the subconscious level, not the surface level. So think about this. A year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, they're probably not going to remember what you said. They're probably not going to remember what you look like or what you sound like if you haven't been checking in with them, which you should be. But if you're not for some reason, then they will remember but they will remember what you made them feel like, how you made them feel. You know, if you've got a friend that you really like that always makes you laugh and you enjoy being around, and you try to tell one of their jokes, it's like, you know what, I don't remember what they said, but they're really funny. It's because you remember how that friend made you feel. And that's what this course does, is it sells to them on the subconscious level while increasing what they're buying, because you and I know that they need more insurance. You can't sell people state minimums. It's our duty to do better for them because it hurts to have the lower limits.
Absolutely. And we got a question from Deborah Mack. Is this program good for all insurance types, like life or workers' comp or all types?
Right. So this process is designed around personal lines P&C. You can use a lot of the core concepts for other lines of insurance, but the examples that I give, the scripts that I provide for both objections and for the actual whole call script, because I have the whole thing laid out for you, it is focused entirely around a P&C conversation. So if you could technically adapt it, because a lot of the core concepts are the same and how you walk them through information to get them to actually absorb it. But the examples may not line up because, again, it's really highly P&C focused.
Perfect. But in OSM, you know, people are using OSM for all different lines, though. So,
yeah, so OSM technically works for any industry. Some of the examples and templates I use are P&C based, but the core concepts of organic social media are all going to be the same. The Facebook algorithm doesn't change based on what industry you're in. People's psychology doesn't change that much based on what industry you're in. And so if you sell primarily life insurance, you can use organic social media. I just couldn't tell you exactly what numbers you'll get because the examples I provide for that are for P&C. But I know life agents like Mike Cardoso and a bunch of others that are absolutely destroying it on social media and doing really, really well. And some of those guys came from the same school of marketing that I did, and they're using really, really similar methods. So the chain process is going to be for those P&C agents that are struggling with personal lines, or P&C agency owners that want their team to be better trained and more unified in their processes in order to sell more premium and bundling numbers and things like that. Whereas organic social media, if you would just want to learn how to generate leads without spending money on ads, then that's what that's for.
Perfect. So Tyler, can you tell us, you know, who is the ideal fit for chain? Who's going to get the most out of it? What do they need to, you know, put in or implement, you know, to get the most out of it? And then by the time they've gone through this and implemented these things, what will they have accomplished or have learned or be able to do after going through it?
Absolutely. So there are more than two, but there are two primary types of folks that benefit the most from chain. One is that producer who just wants to sell more of the policies that they're not closing in the first place. That producer that works for an agency or a carrier that didn't give them a lot of really solid training, or maybe they struggle with selling the state minimums. They want to sell more bundles. So like when I was at Allstate, I got paid a flat commission based on the policy type, right? I would get like X amount of dollars for auto line 10, and then I would get X amount of dollars for renters or homeowners or whatever. And when it was bundled, there was a bundling bonus. And so the big money came from the bundles. So it's for those people that want to sell more bundles, that want to increase their premium. They want to stop dealing with a lot of those common objections, like I need to think about it. I want to talk to the wife. I don't need that extra coverage. I'm going to shop around a little bit more. This other guy was cheaper, things like that. And those ones that really want to invest in themselves and their own future. The other one is going to be the agency owner that has a team that he wants them to sell more, and they have leads coming in, but they don't have a solid, consistent process that appears to be working. Because when I was back at Allstate, they had this weird sales process called LAQUAC or something. It was a really weird acronym, and it was so salesy. I couldn't stand it, and I didn't even use it. And almost everybody I talked to hated it. they had an acronym for the sake of having an acronym. So if those agency owners that want their salespeople to have a consistent process to follow for their P&C leads so they can actually close them down and bundle more and increase their liability levels and things like that, and they don't really know how to train them, or they don't know who to turn to help train them, and they don't feel like their carrier has good resources, things like that. That's what that's for. And whether you're captive or independent, this works really well. It doesn't really change based on that. The only time it's not going to work for you is if for some reason all your quotes are way off. If they're paying $100 a month and your lowest one is $200 a month, then you're going to struggle. But those are the two types of people: the individual producer that wants to invest in himself or herself because they're struggling with actually closing people, or the agency owner that has a team of people that he wants to help them close more.
Awesome. Perfect. And so guys, you guys just heard who's the perfect fit, what you're going to get out of this. This is huge and a game changer for events. You can, Brad's having a little trouble hopping on and off, but he's in the comments. You guys can connect with him. What experience he's had really implementing this with his business, and I'm sure Tyler can connect you with others as well. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and play. Tyler made this cool promo video, so I want to go ahead and play it. There's a tiny bit of wind in it, but towards the end, but it's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this up and play this for you guys. So I think it's this one.
Oh man, my hair was so much shorter.
If you're a P&C agent and you're tired of losing sales on price, you're going to want to watch this. A lot of agents struggle with the concept of selling on value, especially when the prospects we're talking to have been trained by the industry to shop on price. And so you end up closing on price and you lose them on price later. Or maybe you don't close it in the first place at all because you were off by just a few bucks a month. If you want to make those problems go away, I can help you do that. Instead of trying to talk about prices or talk about the value of your company and this, that, and the other, what you should be doing is reframing the conversation so that you're delivering information in a way that is relatable and interesting to your prospect so that they are already making the decision to do business with you before you even present the price or ask for the money. When you do it right, you're going to prevent objections like, "You're not saving me enough money to be worth switching," or "I've been with my agent for a long time," or "I really don't think I need that extra coverage," or "I really don't want to go through the hassle right now." You're going to make them excited to switch and do business with you so that they get peace of mind. Rather than convincing them that they should do what you recommend, they're already making the decision in their head because they're excited to do business with somebody that they now like and trust. When you do this right, you get massively higher closing ratios, higher average premiums, and much happier, more loyal customers. And none of this is based in some crazy, complex idea that only works for a few people. This is rooted in being conversational, authentic, and transparent so that you can have a real conversation with people rather than just being another salesperson. In doing so, they let their guard down and they trust you, and they're more receptive to the information. When they're more receptive to the information, the sales process is much lower pressure for the customer, it's much less stressful for the salesperson, and at the end, both parties are a lot happier because nobody had to convince anybody of anything. The customer knows that they made a good decision, and the salesperson knows that they didn't have to pressure them to do it. However, there is a catch. This process requires 3 things of everybody who uses it: integrity, authenticity, and consistency. In other words, this process is not for the liars or for the lazy. If you lie to make sales or you omit information to try to make more money on a policy that you shouldn't have, this process is not for you. If you're lazy and not willing to stick to a new process until it becomes a habit and it's working for you, this is not for you. But if you are a P&C agent with outstanding work ethic that wants to sell a lot more policies with a lot higher average premium and do so without being pushy, salesy, or dishonest, then this is for you. So if that's you, click the link below right now to buy my chain selling process. Stop dealing with objections like, "I want to think about it." "You're not saving me enough money to be worth switching." "I have to talk to my spouse or my business partner or my dog," or whoever they have to talk to. Stop getting prospects that ghost you and don't pick up the phone when you call back to deliver the quote to them. Click the link right now to buy the chain selling process. You'll get to be on a live call with me to learn the entire process. And as a bonus, I will give you immediate lifetime access to my organic social media training that we did just last month. so you can learn how to generate unlimited leads and referrals from Facebook without spending a dime on ads. So again, P&C Agents, if you have outstanding work ethic and you want to increase your closing ratios, your average premium, have happier, more loyal customers, reduce the pressure throughout the sales process, and make your salespeople's lives so much easier, then it's time for you to click that link right now and revolutionize how you sell property and casualty insurance. Looking forward to seeing you on the other side and turning you into a sales closing machine. Have a great day.
Sweet video, Tyler.
Yeah, I need to update it a little bit though. It says a live call, but I'm not doing the live trainings as much anymore unless an agency owner wants me to train their whole team. But
It's digital now. It's on demand. People can claim the course right now. In fact, they can get the launch special. You get $50 off a chain. You get OSM included for free within it, and a free custom insurance landing page for a year too. So lots of bonuses were thrown in for people that grab chain. I see that you wrote a comment why that was going. The video is that training's now digital, not live. Correct. It's digital now. So I do have a couple comments from Brad that I wanted to bring up, since he's having a little trouble with some of the audio. He says, in my opinion, OSM and chain go hand in hand with each other. If you get someone reaching out to you organically from OSM techniques, you can use chain to really take them through the process, something they most likely haven't been through when shopping for insurance, which is awesome.
One of the things that he told me several months after he went through it, Brad was one of the first people I trained one-on-one a while back. And he said that when he was with his other agency, he was struggling with selling a lot of state minimum policies because he didn't have a lot of training or resources and stuff like that. And then several months later, I did a live group training for chain. I think I had like 10 agents on that call, and he came along just because he wanted to kind of go through it again. And he provided a testimony, and he said that since he went through that, he has not sold less than a 100, 300 policy. He hadn't sold a state minimum policy in months as a result. And so it's like, even though ideally we want 250, 500 and up, it's like not less than 100, 300. That's amazing. Like that should be the minimum that some agencies are going for, when just a couple of months prior to that, he was selling 25, 50 policies somewhat regularly. And I had a couple other people tell me the same thing. They're like, Tyler, I haven't sold less than X amount size policy anymore because following this process that I learned from you. And I'm like, that's amazing, because you're protecting your customers better. You're making a little bit more money. You're making them more loyal to you, and you're making it easier for them to get lower rates later. Because in most states, if not all states, when you carry higher liability, when you get a new quote or a requote, you have a higher chance of lowering your cost. Even if you're captive, if you have a customer for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and they start to shop, if they had 250, 500 limits and you requote them, you can leverage the previously high limits to try to lower rates. Whereas if they had the state minimums, you have much less chance of that. But I always feel really good. A year later, Brad has only sold 2 state minimum policies. Wow, that's awesome. Oh, I love hearing that. See, that makes me feel good, because like I'm always nervous about it, but whenever somebody confirms that things are working, I feel so much better. I know that I'm helping people. That makes me feel good. So, but yeah, that's one of my favorite things about this, is making our customers' lives better. And that's one of the biggest focuses of the training, is your mindset is going to change a little bit. You're going to stop asking yourself how you can sell more policies today, and you're going to start asking yourself, how can I make someone's life better today? Because when you focus on the money, it gets harder to get the money, especially if you come off as desperate. When you focus on helping other people, the money just comes.
Absolutely, and that's the main thing. Renee, can you? I don't know if do we got audio for you? No audio for you, Renee. I'm gonna maybe have you hop off.
We don't want to hear you.
I didn't mute him. I swear, I was checking. But at the end of the day, it's taking care of the customer and getting the best value and best fit for them. I just finished watching both Boiler Room and Glenn Ross or whatever, and man, that the old school salesmen and the way they would just push through people and really, I mean, what boiler room, just literally just kind of lying to them and really, their sales, they're good at getting the close and powering through the objections, but not in a way that made the customer feel that great, and then obviously not, selling them something.
Oh yeah, because they're selling something and letting them go. They're never going to see them again once it's completely done. With us agents, we want to retain people. We want like 95% higher retention rate. So it's like we need a process that gets people to stick around because they trust you, because you're honest, like brutally honest and transparent, and you're protecting them well. And then if they have a claims experience, then they've got high enough limits, or they've got a low enough deductible for their comprehensive, or whatever the case may be, they're going to feel good about that. I had somebody message me like 5 days ago, a customer that I closed in November. I moved her from whatever company she was with to Nationwide. And at the time, she had $500 deductibles, and I closed her on, I moved her from $5,100 to $5,500, and she had $500 deductibles. And then I moved her comprehensive down to $100, because I mean, if you got a broken windshield and it's like a $200 or $300 fix, $500 deductible is nothing. Well, she had her car was parked under a tree at her apartment complex, and there was like some winds and a bunch of branches and stuff fell off the tree and put dents all over her car. And she's like, well, this sucks because I've got a $500 deductible. I said, no, you've got $100. And she's like, oh yeah, that's right, you told me about that. I'm like, yeah, so you're only going to be $100 out of pocket maximum to fix that. So go get an estimate and let me know what happens. We'll figure it out from there. But it's like when we don't have to convince them throughout our process that they need a better deductible, or they need higher liability, or whatever the case may be, and they come back and they have to use it, they're so much more loyal. They love that, and then they remember what you did for them. But if you sell them a state minimum policy with $500 deductibles or $1,000 deductibles on something they don't need, or something that they shouldn't be that high, and they go have a bad claims experience, poof, they're gone. If they get sued because they didn't have enough liability, they're probably going to blame you, even if you recommended it, which is why this process is designed around not ever doing that again. You're going to bring out like the real fear in them, not in a bad way in order to manipulate them, but throughout your process, you're going to bring out the real fear in them that something bad can happen. I know I talk a lot, so David, if you need to interrupt me. But a thing that I learned from—
all good stuff, so keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So something that I learned, and this took me a while to absorb, from another guy that I learned from, because I'm always learning. Guys, I'm not perfect, and I've got people that I have to learn from, because I believe we always have to keep learning, or we just plateau and then we get worse. So I'm not above anybody, but a thing that he taught me through his programs is that people don't necessarily want what we think they want. So for example, people in the real estate world and the mortgage world, they don't want a mortgage, right? Nobody rolls over in the middle of the night and says, honey, we should really get ourselves a USDA loan with 3.7% interest and just $2,000 in close. No, they roll over and say, honey, we're going to have a baby. We need a bigger house. Their problem is they need a bigger house. So the mortgage agent needs to stop focusing on mortgages, start focusing on how we can help them get a house, right? If you go to a car dealership, they don't want a car salesman. They don't want somebody to show up in their tweed jacket and try to sell them something. They usually have something on their mind. Some people are just window shoppers. That happens. I used to sell cars, I know. And sometimes I'll go look at a car just because I want to look at it because I think it's cool. But like if a mom shows up that just had a baby, she's probably looking for a vehicle that can accommodate her family. So you got to focus on how you can solve their family problem. In the insurance world, the problems that people are usually focused on is rates. And we know that's not the real problem. You and I, as the P&C agents, know that that's not the real problems out there. I mean, it's part of it because it's constantly going up, but they're either focused on rates or they're mad at their agent or something like that. And if you sell them on rates, you're going to lose them on rates. And so because we don't have an immediate real problem to close, like you do with the family that needs a house, not a mortgage, but a house, you have to bring the problem to the surface. So what this process does is it slows them down, gets them to listen and absorb the information that you're giving them, because you're not trying to sell them anything. You're trying to give them helpful and real information with realistic examples of their potential fates. And it's bringing out that real fear. And now all of a sudden they realize, wow, this is my real problem. And then when you start to present information that can solve that problem, they start coming to their own conclusions and going, wow, I really need to do this. And when I start explaining to people, when I'm selling them insurance, when I start explaining like how this works and what's going to happen to them, even if they get into a minor fender bender, and I tell them a story about what's happened to people that I know, they're like, wow, I never thought of it like that. My agent never told me that. My agent never told me this. It's like, wow, why didn't anybody ever explain that to me? Oh, I didn't know that. And you'd be amazed at the responses. And so by the time I ask them, so here's my recommendation, do you think this will work better for you? They're going, yeah, that'll work a lot better for me. And sometimes it's more than they're spending. Because that's the thing. A lot of agents are afraid to try and close somebody when they cost more. So what they'll do is this person comes to them, they're paying $150 a month, right? And they're like, man, I can only save this person like $5 or $10 a month if I match coverages. The next level up is only $5 more a month, but it's twice as much coverage or 3 times as much coverage. A lot of agents are afraid to try to sell that. And I used to be that guy. But when you follow this process, you give them the right recommendations and you also give them a plan B so they don't have an easy out. 99% of the time, as long as you're not way off in price, you're going to get them to close on the higher limits. And if not, you've got a plan B and you didn't give them an easy out. And so your closing ratios go through the roof, especially because the way you explained it, even if they don't take your recommendations, which is going to be very rare, they're going to realize that you're honest and trustworthy. Yes, Renee is right. Never sell on rate. And they're going to believe in you and they're going to want to stick with you. I have people all the time that go, Tyler, that was amazing. And even though you're way off in cost, I'm going to be sending my friends to you. And I want to get new quotes from you once in a while, because if I can do business with anybody, I want it to be you. There's a gentleman that I used to work with named Austin Kittleson. He was an agent out of Portland when I lived in Portland, actually, and I trained him. He's up in Seattle or something now. I don't think he's actually selling insurance now, but he sent me screenshots of some reviews and conversations that he had. And he had a couple people that left him like a 5-star review that he didn't sell insurance to. And the way some of these people left the reviews, it was very clear the bullet points the customer was making in their little paragraph lined right up with the process that I taught Austin, which was this process. And he said, Austin is an amazing agent. He didn't have a good rate for me, but he's one of the most thorough and honest people. And he explained things to me in a way that I've never had before. And I'll be sending my friends to him. And the same thing happens to me. I cannot tell you how many referrals I get from people that I haven't closed from yesteryear. Because even if for some reason, again, if you're way off in rate, when you're brutally honest with people and you tell them the kind of information that other agents won't tell them, and you give them all these little secrets, they trust you because your only focus is to help them and make their life better. That all makes sense?
Makes sense to me.
I go on for forever sometimes. So
that says if you're $100 a month off, that's one thing. But if you're 10 to 20 off and giving them more coverage, I can almost bet you'll close 50% of those.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah. In fact, an example, when I first started using this process, and this was before I got really good at it, this is when I had first learned my original sales process, which was more focused on like high ticket items like real estate and mortgages and things like that, which I actually use that process to sell you my process. But I used that and it was somewhat similar to this, but it wasn't focused on insurance. But I had a guy. His name was Sam, I think, and he needed like a farm policy, and he needed auto, and he needed I think he needed general liability. It's been like 4 years, so don't quote me on everything. I know he needed auto and farm. And after I finally talked to him like a third time, he goes, Tyler, he goes, after everything you've told me, you're a little bit more expensive than the other quotes that I got. But the thing is, I think I trust you, so I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go grab my debit card right now. And I'm like, oh, and that was my first realization about 4 years ago that it's like, wow, when I focus on like giving them this information in the way that I did, it changes their perception. He came to his own conclusions that I'm trustworthy. I didn't say, you can trust me. He came to that conclusion himself. And when you do that, it's a lot easier. Like if a salesman comes up to your door and knocks, Heidi, I knock and my dog back. Heidi, come here. Come here.
I do the same thing.
And they're going to try to sell you a vacuum or whatever they're going to sell you. No, I used to sell door to door as well. I used to sell Schwann's. You have to convince them that they want it. And then you have to hope they're going to be happy with it, or they have to hope they're going to be happy with it. But if somebody already trusts you and you've given them real information that makes sense, that they know is true, and they come to their own conclusions, you don't have to convince them of anything. They're already pulling out their payment information before you say, give me the money. There's a big difference between somebody deciding that they want to buy something and somebody being sold something, somebody being convinced.
Absolutely. Renee was asking in the comments, Brad, were your results immediate implementing Tyler's strategies? And Brad said, I would say so, maybe not with every single one, but once I got it right, hundreds. That's awesome.
Yeah, it takes consistency. You're going to mess up. You're going to get partway through this process and you're going to, oh, what do I do here? But that's why I'm going to provide a sheet. Now, this sheet that I provide, this like call script sheet, you're going to have to adapt because not every scenario is going to be perfect. I'm going to provide some sample calls as well of calls I've had in the past. The first one I'm going to upload is an almost perfect scenario of somebody that I saved them a little cash and got them better coverage and things like that. But the process is simple and solid. But you're going to get people that throw you for curveballs. You're going to get those situations that are a little bit different and a little bit weird. Like no matter what, you can't save them money. Even the lowest limits are higher. You're going to run into those situations that are just weird. Maybe you're independent and the auto is higher, but the home is lower, or vice versa, and you have to split the policies up. But this will help you follow on the process. But just know that when you're first doing this, you're probably going to mess it up, and that's okay. Dude, I used to screw up so much, and I still do. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I stutter. I forget my words. In the training videos, I stutter. And sometimes I have to back up like a sentence or two and say, let me rephrase that for a sec, and then go through it again. You're going to mess this up, but you need to be consistent, and you will get it down. You'll notice a difference. Once you understand it and it clicks, you'll notice a difference right away. Then 3 weeks down the road, you'll notice a bigger difference, and another month and another month. And once it's consistent, it's going to be like clockwork. And if you're like me, like when I'm on the phone, I've got like my earpiece and stuff. I stand up and I'm like walking and talking with my hands moving. They can't even see me because I'm confident in what I'm doing, and that confidence bleeds over. So as long as I've got the hiccups. As long as you're consistent, this will work for you if you're selling P&C insurance. Just know that you need to be okay with messing up and forgetting things once in a while when you're first starting out. It's going to happen.
Absolutely. So Tyler, can you tell us a little bit like what all is included within this training course, or what all you have in there?
Yeah. So there are 3 core videos. They're between like 40 minutes and an hour long. So there's about 2.5 hours of primary content. It's the process broken down, what each letter of chain means, and how to utilize it, as well as the psychology behind it. The first video is C, H, and A. The second video is the I, or part of it, and the last video is the I and the N. And so I break down the entire process, the psychology behind how and why it works, and how objections are prevented, and if they're not prevented, how to handle them, and then also how to increase your bundling numbers as well, and how to upsell things like renters and umbrellas and things like that. Later on, I'll be adding a little bit on homeowners, but once you learn this process, it's going to be really easy to apply to homeowners policies. There's going to be, it's not uploaded yet, but there will be a sample call that gets uploaded. I just need to bleep out the person's private information. And then I'm going to upload some more sample calls with different scenarios that were either more difficult or more complex. So you guys have context, because once you go through the training, you're going to be like, okay, that was really good. And you're going to be trying to piece it together, but being able to listen to a call where I do exactly what I say is going to help you a lot. You're going to get an objection handling sheet with the most common objections and how to handle them either off the cuff or based on the process. You're going to get a full call script for the most basic types of calls, so you have something to follow along with, and how I get the information, and how I sell things that some states don't require. So for example, in Oregon, I can't waive uninsured motorist, not that I ever would. I can't waive PIP, and things like that. Whereas in Washington, I can, but I don't. So the call sheet and the process and everything will break down how, if it's not required in your state, you can stop saying, okay, do you want uninsured motorist coverage as well? And instead, you're just going to be showing it as part of the package. And then, of course, you guys are also going to get access to the organic social media course if you get on this really, really soon. So you can generate the leads in the first place to be able to close them with this process and start getting referrals and reviews and all kinds of cool stuff.
Absolutely. We had a question from Carlos. Do you think it's important to learn how to identify people's personality types and how they might react and base your sales strategy on that? You know, when you're on the phone and filling out the customers?
Yes. And here's something that I preach on this. I preach authenticity. And what I mean by that is you want to 100% be yourself at all times. And a lot of people will say, mirror your customer. And they're not wrong, but some people take it too far. So for example, if you pretend to like something the customer likes in order to build fake rapport, you suck. Come on. Like I saw this guy in this other sales group that said, if your customer smokes, you smoke. If your customer likes hockey, you like hockey, and so on. I'm like, no, come on. But
I feel like that would be super easy to get called out on too. As soon as there's something
track of your lies. Like if you're changing the things that you like with everybody you talk to, how can you keep track of your lies, right? So what I preach is authenticity, but listen to your customer, understand their personality type. So if you've never done it, I suggest you spend the $50, take a DISC profile test, and that will help you to understand the different personality profiles. I'm a high I influencer with a tiny touch of dominance and a lot of empathy. That's what I am. And so I can identify those other personality types. The main thing you can adjust is your speed. I'm a really high speed person. And sometimes I have to warn people of that. But if I have a customer that's a little bit slower paced, a little bit more subdued and quiet, I won't change who I am, but I will sort of change the pace that I talk at so as not to overwhelm or intimidate them by accident necessarily. If they're a really dominant personality type, I will speak clearly and concisely and make sure that the information is really punchy and they understand it. But the process is going to stay the same. It's, in my opinion, and if you guys have alternate opinions, please let me know. I'm always willing to learn, and I'm not right about everything, and you could probably teach me something. But in my opinion, the main thing that you need to identify is their pace, and you need to sort of adjust your pace. But you can still keep the same level of energy even if you slow down, and still be yourself even if you slow down or speed up. So I hope that makes sense.
John Lucero saying Tyler's best strong, so I had to jump on if you've been only for a few minutes.
I'm sorry I haven't responded. I will get back to you. He sent
me
a
Hey, Tyler and John are talking about something. So, but Renee was asking, just as far as the strategy over the phone versus in person, I'm assuming it's kind of mostly people dealing over the phone because that's kind of common P&C versus like P&C. You're not really going to someone's home to sell them an auto policy probably as much.
Yes, and that reminds me. Yes, it works over the phone and in person. This is mostly verbal. I totally forgot. One of the things you're going to get included with this program is my high converting email template that I use that sort of follows the outline of how I close people. And I just used it last week again, where somebody needed the quote delivered via email. What you're scratching? Dog needs more allergy medicine. She takes Apoquel and we ran out. I need to go buy some more. Anyway, you're going to get a high converting email template that you can plug and play and just adjust the limits and stuff like that based on what you're trying to close them on as well. So you can close people over email and get their information that way. So this works over the phone, in person, and over email as well. In some cases, I've delivered it over Facebook Messenger. A lot of my business is done on Facebook because that's where a lot of my leads come from. But you'll get the template that I use for that. So no matter where you're closing them, this will work.
Sweet. So that's what we want. Something that works everywhere, wherever you're closing them. So it's a great process. Brad's saying it's stronger in person, but still strong over the phone. So Brad, I think, finds it very strong in person actually too.
Yeah, because when you're in person, you can show them the numbers and they can really visualize it. So
perfect. Show me the numbers. Yeah, show me the money. So that's awesome. So so you kind of covered exactly, who the course is for, and who's going to get the most out of it, what they're going to have accomplished through it, what's in it. We mentioned once again the bonuses that are included, You're going to get the OSM course included within it. You're going to get $50 off of that, and we're throwing in a free custom insurance landing page for a year as well. So you guys have a lot of bonuses if you go grab that. Tyler, you had something?
So let me get this straight. It's all kind of clicking. So the normal price of the chain program is $497. We're doing it for $447. I already knew that. They're getting the organic social media course included, so you can learn to generate unlimited leads and referrals without spending money on ads, which the price of that is going up to $197 relatively soon. So you get a $200 program for free to learn how to generate leads. You're gonna learn how to close them. They're gonna get a landing page that they can use in conjunction with OSM for a year. And what else are they getting? Like you said something
the
like
value's stacking up, man. The value's stacking up. So I mean,
like I knew we were giving a couple things away, but it was just like really clicking because the landing page, even though I show people the ones that I build, you guys have an awesome platform and you can use that in conjunction with the organic social media program. And here's something that's kind of cool too. With the organic social media program, if they're filling out your complete quote form that I teach people how to do, then by the time you call them, you've got a complete quote ready to go. And it's going to be, you can actually like almost just skip to the closing and build a lot of value. Like this is crazy. $447. You guys are going to be able to generate your own leads, close them and keep them, and have some technology in place to help you do that. That's kind of an amazing deal.
I also want to point out these bonuses aren't lasting for forever, guys. So we only have bonuses for a set amount of time, and then those go away, and the price will go up to $497. So if you guys want to take advantage of this, you guys need to go ahead and get it. So I promise it will make a huge difference in your sales process, in your sales conversions, in your numbers, how you on the phone, how comfortable you are with those objections and handling them. When you know the exact way how to handle them, then you're comfortable when you hear them. It's not like freak out, oh no, they have an objection, I don't know what to do, I lost the sale. It's, oh, I know exactly how to treat this and the process to go through this with them. In fact, were you telling me about I don't know if it was you was telling me about someone that kind of learned how to handle some of the objections, and they literally ended up saving a bunch of bonuses, like or a bunch of policies when someone called to like cancel or them as well. Do you teach anything as far as when customers call in to potentially want to cancel or modify their insurance?
So I don't have that specifically in the course, but I've dealt with that a few times. I actually had somebody about a month or two ago that I was going to move her. This is another person I was moving to Nationwide, and she had Geico. Her collision deductible was $750. Her comprehensive deductible was $250. Her liability was $5,100. I gave her a Nationwide policy for about, it was only like $17 less a month with $250, $500, $500 collision, $100 comp. Well, she went to call and cancel Geico because the policy was amazing. And they're like, and she's like, hey, I think I'm actually going to stay with Geico because they actually got me even lower than what you quoted me. I said, okay, I totally understand. Can I go ahead and take a look at the quote that they sent you just to make sure that they're not doing you dirty? And I looked at it. They rewrote the exact same policy they had for her: $5,100, $750 collision, $250 comp. And so what I did was I sort of backed up a couple steps in my chain process, and I said, okay, awesome. So here's what they're trying to do to you. This is the same policy that you had before. Let me go over it one more time. And then when I went over it, it wasn't worth saving that extra money to her to stay with them. Because they tried to convince her that it was worth saving the extra money when $5,100 is not a lot. Like $50,000, if you rear end somebody and they go to the hospital for a few days and they miss work and they claim pain and suffering, they go for general damages, 50 grand is going to burn up in a hurry. And I showed her that again. So if somebody ever does that, you can sort of go to the end of the chain process and break it down piece by piece and re-close them, reconvert them. I actually saw somebody yesterday that this isn't within my agency, but there's a guy that I am connected with. It happens all the time with Geico. Yeah, Geico is terrible. I don't normally talk bad about carriers because to me, they're mostly just businesses. They're there to make money. Geico, that lizard is slippery. But my guy, Kenny in Texas, he does a lot of commercial and a lot of exotic cars. And this other agent, he got a notice of Ken, and I didn't train Kenny, but he thinks along the same lines I do. And he had somebody that tried to move his Lamborghini to another carrier with another agent. And it turns out that carrier was one that he worked with as well. And the agent was burning him on coverage. Like the Lambo was worth about 250 grand and they were insuring it for 150,000 agreed value. And even then the policy would have been canceled because that carrier doesn't do that kind of car. And so he took him back, broke it down piece by piece and said, does that make sense to you? Or I don't remember exactly what he did. It was in like text conversation and it was like, oh, wow, thank you for not letting me get screwed over. And so I do the same thing. This process, once you learn it, if somebody ever tries to cancel on you, literally all you have to do is go back to the I portion of the course, which is initiate the close and sort of go over everything again. And if you've done your job, like if you're the one that originally closed them and you would raise their limits, and they've been with you for a couple of years, you should hopefully be able to requote them and maybe get them to stick around.
Excellent. Yeah. So much great stuff. So much wonderful stuff in the process. Everything from Tyler's organic social media for teaching you how to generate endless leads and referrals on social without ad spend. Crazy awesome course that a ton of agents in the group have been through, and they can tell you how awesome it is and how much of an impact it's had to their business when they've implemented that. And then this chain process that, you know, Brad is happy to talk with people about his experience with going through that chain process, which implemented. Tyler can hook you up with a few more people that have been through that as well. And, you know, this is the exact stuff. I think Tyler's mentioned it before. I don't know if he's talked about it again this time, but everything Tyler does and teaches is stuff he uses in his own agency, implements himself and uses. And so Tyler, this exact way he treats his sales process when he's hopping the phones with people. He uses the same organic social media techniques himself as well. He updates this stuff periodically to keep up with any changes, anything that's happening in the industry. So, you know, Tyler's an awesome guy, and you guys should just connect with him, you know, just because even. But he's got really great content, knows the sales side really well, and it's got a lot of great stuff for you guys. So highly recommend checking that out. And if you guys have any final questions or anything like that, please ask them in the comments. We'll bring them up, and feel free to keep asking them even afterwards if you're catching the replay, for example. And Tyler and us will see those and can respond to those. And reach out, say hi to Tyler as well. You know, introduce yourself. Especially all lines for organic, but you know, chain and P&C agent especially. You know, definitely reach out to him. He's a good person to know for sure. If anybody has questions, Brad says they can shoot him a DM as well, and he's happy to message and talk with them about his experience and everything as well.
I actually recently brought Brad on board as part of my team, so he can help you guys out as well if I'm not responding or because I'm buried. If you guys ever shoot me a message and I don't respond, even if it shows that I read it, I'm not ignoring you. Sometimes what happens to me is I read a message and say, okay, I need to respond to this person in a few minutes. And then I'll start doing something else and I'll forget you exist. So don't be afraid to send me another message and remind me that you're waiting for a response. I won't be annoyed. I won't feel like you're being rude. I forget to respond sometimes. Now, if you do buy this course, I specifically want to request that you send me a friend request. And as you go through it, I say the same thing about organic social media, but with organic social media, I don't really get any questions anymore because I've ironed it out really, really well. The chain process I've taught live many times, either one-on-one, in person, or in group settings. And it's really easy for me to spend 3-4 hours teaching it live. Digital is a little bit harder. So as you go through the chain selling process training, write down your questions on paper, because it's been proven that it's easier for people to remember things if they write things down by hand. If your questions are not answered by the video and by listening to the sample calls and going through the scripts, I want you to reach out to me, okay? If you feel like you're not confident in a certain part of it because you don't understand something, or you feel like there's a piece missing, or you feel like there's a piece of the chain that's broken, reach out to me and I will personally help you and make sure you get your money's worth, okay? Now, if you're going to ask me to consult you for like many hours, I'm probably going to charge you. But if you say, Tyler, I bought your course, I need some help with some parts of it because I don't understand this piece, I'm not sure what to do in this situation, I'm going to help you at no charge because I want to make sure that you get your money's worth. And if you somehow point out something that I missed, I will literally spend hours updating the course just for you guys because I want to make sure that this is the absolute best P&C sales course that you could ever buy, and you don't feel like you ever have to go to anybody else ever again. Not because I want to be like I have some sort of big ego, but because I want to make sure that I'm delivering value to the people that are spending money to buy my stuff. I don't want to sell my courses to people that aren't going to benefit from it. So like, for example, if you already have a 90% closing ratio and you always bundle and you're always selling 250, 500, this probably ain't going to help you. You're already a king at what you do, or a queen. But I want to make sure that the people who buy it are getting the maximum amount of value. So if you're confused about something, I'm here. I've got your back. Okay. That's what I'm here for. I will make sure you get your values worth. And remember, guys, if you've already purchased my organic social media course in the past, you're going to get $97 off of this temporarily. If you haven't purchased it, then you're going to get $50 off, and you're going to get the organic social media course as well. So anyway, I just wanted to stress that, guys. If you need help with something after you've gone through it and written down your questions and they're not answered, let me know. I got you.
Awesome. Tyler always has you. Tyler's always value first. That's what we love about him, is he makes sure to pack stuff with way more value than you would even think or could even expect. And he packs it in. So this course is awesome. Once you guys check it out, you can check it out with the link down below. Make sure to claim those bonuses before they're gone. If you have any questions, reach out to Brad or Tyler, and they can answer any questions about the course or P&C or whatever questions you guys have. So, and keep asking them in the comments and stuff as well, and we can definitely answer those. So Tyler, thanks so much for being here, and we really appreciate it. And anything final? Oh yeah, let's make sure to get one of your partners on the screen.
Heidi wants to say hi. You're a good girl. I'm busy. Go away. She's gonna want my attention.
But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for letting these agents know about this course and really providing that for them. I think the ones that take advantage of this, it's going to make a huge difference for their business. Just like OSM has for a ton of agents.
Absolutely. And remember, if you guys buy it today, there's still some stuff being uploaded. So if you don't see the sample calls and stuff in there yet, they're coming. Just be patient. I should be hopefully able to finish editing those today, because obviously I don't want to give you some random guy's address and last name. And I'll be uploading more sample calls, and the scripts and objection sheets are in the process of being uploaded as well. So if you feel like something's missing, it's coming. Should hopefully have everything done today.
Awesome. Thanks again, Tyler. Always good to have you here. Have you back on. Maybe we'll do a panel on some different stuff, or objections, or marketing. I don't know. We got a ton of stuff to talk about and a ton of awesome people to have on and talk about those things. So we'll have plenty more lives and have you back. If you guys have questions, reach out to him. Make sure to check out the course. Grab the freebies that we got on the site as well, and claim the bonuses. So thanks, guys. Appreciate all you guys. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Keep killing it and have an awesome 2020. So thanks, Tyler.
Have a good day.